Welcome everyone to LED Live. We are excited because on this episode we're going to talk about Christ in the context of culture. And what are we going to be looking at today? We're going to be looking at Onward, which is set to drop in about a week. Is Onward something a Christian should be watching? Find out now.
Find out on this episode of LED Live.
First of all, we want to thank our patrons. You guys are a big help to our show. You're the ones that help keep this content free, and we want to thank you for that. We're up to how many supporters now, guys?
222.
About 222. And you could be 223 if you sign up. So we encourage you to check us out on Patreon and sign up. We have a lot of perks on there for different donor levels. So help keep the content flowing for everyone. Also, after this show, we have a special perk for our patrons. We have a Patreon post-show discussion. So look for that after this episode is over. And we have a tendency to drop those early. So it's just a perk of being a donor. What level do they get that at? Is it $5 a month? So as little as $5 a month, you could be checking out these extra discussions that we put out after our shows. We also want to let you know about our merch. We've got t-shirts like the one I'm wearing right now. It says, "Pray for your haters." Nice. Anybody else got one on? Scotty, remember the Sabbath. Awesome. And you can find those on Teespring. You can see the link on the screen. More than just t-shirts, though, we have DVDs. And for this particular show, we want to highlight one DVD in particular. This is a documentary we made several years ago. It's called Magic Kingdom, What Does Your Heart Tell You to Follow? And this is going to cover some of the topics that they teach little kids. And is all of that good? Is it something a Christian should be taking in? What are those messages? You can find out in this documentary. So we encourage you to check it out on our store, littlelightstudios.tv/shop. Or if you prefer the higher quality digital downloads, like some of us, I don't buy any DVDs anymore. I can't remember the last time I bought a DVD. We have Vimeo, and on Vimeo you can rent or you can buy. You can rent for as little as $2.99, sometimes 99 cents if we're running a sale. Or you can buy for documentaries generally $9.99 or sometimes less if we're having a sale. So check us out on Vimeo. We have digital downloads. So today, everyone, we're going to talk about Pixar's latest film, which is set to drop in about a week from today. It is called Onward. Have you heard of Onward?
Heard of it.
Yeah.
Heard of it. What have you heard?
Something about them bringing their dad back from the dead.
Okay. Anything else?
They play a lot of rock and roll.
A lot of rock and roll.
A lot of 80s rock, right?
80s rock. Okay. Well, I want to show you the trailer, and we will jump right into this. But this episode is about Onward. It's magic. Right? There's always magic, it seems like, in these things. So let's check out the trailer now.
Happy birthday, Mr. Adult Man!
Oh, Mom.
Gross.
What was Dad like?
His beard was scratchy. He had a goofy laugh. I wish I'd met him.
I have something for you.
From your dad. It's a wizard staff. I wrote this spell so I could see for myself
Who my boys grew up to be.
This spell brings him
back.
Back like back to life?
He wanted to meet you more than anything.
Holy Toot of Zadar!
I don't know. It just started.
Hang on!
Dad?
There's no top part!
Dad, you are in your house.
Oh,
We've only got 24 hours to bring back the rest of Dad.
we're going on a quest. All quests start with the Manticore.
The fearless adventurer.
You mean Corey? She's over there.
Quick! Somebody help me! These Griffin nuggets were supposed to go out minutes ago!
That's the Manticore?
You guys are in trouble big time.
Get in the vehicle. I'm escorting you home.
I'm giving you to the count of 3.
Okay.
Wait, what are you doing?
I don't know.
I'm looking for my sons!
Oh, they went on a quest.
But don't worry, I told them about the map, I told them about the gym, I told them about the curse.
I forgot to tell them about the cars. The what? Your boys are in grave danger.
Hold on!
out here, boys, doing a crisis?
Oh no! We're dead, we're dead, we're dead!
Not great. I can't do it.
We're not gonna see you, Dad.
You can do this.
I believe in you. My gut knows where to go, don't you, boy?
Yes, you do.
I'm on my way, boys.
Just stay out of trouble.
Pretty
All right.
disturbing.
Disturbing in what way?
I mean, this is necromancy, right? They're bringing their dad back from the dead, and we know that biblically the only person who can do that is Jesus Christ, but they're using spells to do it.
Yep. But it's got this really epic, feel-good family, you know, they just want to see dad.
Leave it to Pixar to have some heart-wrenching story about a kid and his
The only
parents.
magic is family, it says, you know.
Yeah. What I think is interesting when you watch trailers like this is a lot of times they'll pop words on the screen for, you know, brief seconds. And then they'll play a few clips and then they'll play some more words. And it's like, unless you slow everything down, it's hard to figure out maybe what that is, or do you remember even? So it asked a couple of questions. One was, how far would you go? And what was the second part of that question? For one more day together.
Oh, wow.
Right? How far would you go for one more day together? And the implication, at least that I see in that, is would you practice magic to bring your loved ones back to life?
Man, that kind of makes me think of movies like Ghost. Remember that lady just wanted to see her husband again? And
Yeah.
man,
Patrick Swayze,
yeah.
Demi Moore. Yeah.
Interesting that they're like outlaws, sort of on the run. Like they're almost like letting you know this is not good.
The
But-
cops are after him and stuff.
Yeah, but they're gonna do it anyway, you know.
Yeah. There's that rebellious element. There's another phrase in here that I caught too, and that was discover your power. Right? And then it followed it with make some magic.
Your power.
Making some magic. We talked about magic before. Magic is very self-driven,
yeah.
right? You're the one with the power. You're the one that does all these things.
Which is what draws people to it. They want that power, you know, they desire to be in control of something.
Yeah. Which is basically a counterfeit for God, because God is saying, listen, if you surrender your life to me, the most powerful being in the universe, you will have access to that. And so it's like this is sort of sidestepping that and saying, you know what, I can gain that power without you.
Without God.
Yeah.
It's forgetting that without him, we are nothing. We don't have any power within ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, I took a look at what the dictionary defines magic as. This is from Merriam-Webster. That gives a couple of definitions. It says, one, the use of means such as charms or spells believed to have supernatural power over natural forces. Another one was magic rites or incantations. Definition 2 says an extraordinary power or influence seemingly from a supernatural source. I thought that was an interesting way to put it. Or something that seems to cast a spell, also known as an enchantment. Or, of course, we know that the art of producing illusions by sleight of hand, what we typically a lot of times think of as magic. When I was a little kid, I was fascinated with, books I probably shouldn't be reading in the library, and one of those was like card tricks and stuff, magic. Like, how do they do these kind of things?
Interesting, though, that magic is often associated with a spell, right? To spell something, to use language, to put something on somebody, right?
Yep.
That I see as a counterfeit of prayer. You know,
right.
I mean,
Promises.
you pray, you use words, and something supernatural happens when you pray.
The Bible says that there's a lot of power in words and that your tongue can, it's like a sword that can just like really hurt somebody. And
Destroy or build up.
yeah,
Yeah, it says life and death are in the power of the tongue.
that's right.
Which is a very powerful thought. All right, so I snagged this from Disney's website here. It's got a little picture with a description of what these guys are trying to do. It says, in Disney and Pixar's Onward, brothers Ian and Barley Lightfoot, tells that they're voiced by Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, are given a special gift from their late father on Ian's 16th birthday, right? Almost like it's getting a car. But when an accompanying spell meant to magically conjure their dad for one day goes awry, they embark on a quest fraught with some of the most unexpected obstacles. So I thought, this is interesting. The language that they're using and the little title here was conjuring dad. What does it mean to conjure? Well, the dictionary says it means to call upon a spirit or a ghost to appear by means of a magic ritual.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Lovely. Something you want your children's involved in.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you watch the trailer closely, you would have noticed that it comes with this spell to do that, which is called the visitation spell. And here you can see, you've got part of dad and then the next part of dad and then all of dad when you're done.
So wait, this is a screenshot of what the book is that he's doing
In the trailer. Yeah, this is a screenshot from the trailer.
Right. It's crazy to me that, I mean, you got to just think about this. This is kids stuff. Yes, Pixar has a wide range of people that will enjoy this. There'll be adults that'll go to this. But think of all the little kids that go to this, and the first exposure to this kind of material is like, wow, you can actually have spells on people. You know what I mean? Like, that's just nuts.
You can talk to your dead relatives.
Yeah.
This is like leading you to Ouija boards and things. This is the stuff that I was dabbling in when I was a teenager because of, the way movies made it look.
And the kids may not be saying the spells, but the act of watching it is an act of participating. And I'll never forget what Eric Wilson said in our, the Holy Yoga LED Live. He said, ignorance does not stop things from working the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
So if there's spells being said and spiritualism and magic happening in these films, and we're exposing ourselves to that, yeah, the spirits are definitely going to say, okay, you're opening the door, I will come in.
And when the kids repeat those lines and stuff,
In ignorance, it's not going to stop.
One thing that we brought up in Magic Kingdom, the documentary, was the concept that in Pocahontas, remember, they use a lot of like when she's talking to the tree and the tree says, listen to the spirits, they're all around you. And then she starts singing a song and she says like, oh, koku, and blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember what it was, but it was not a language that any of us understand. And I actually ran into someone who was part of the Wiccan religion and had converted out of that into Christianity. And she had seen one of our projects and said, oh yeah, they have witch incantations in cartoons all the time. Wow. So that's crazy to think if you're sitting there watching something and there is some sort of real incantation or spell, like what you said with Eric Wilson, it doesn't stop it from working on you if you're ignorantly don't understand it.
And I don't think people give creators enough credit. Like, these people do extensive research on this stuff.
Right. Exactly. Well, we found out in the Owl House that they said that their creative room was just full of witchcraft books. They were open about it. They want to make it seem as real as possible.
All right, so here's another one that they put up. You can find these on Disney and Pixar's website. This one's titled En route. It says, these brothers, Ian and Barley, seek an ancient map from the Manticore, once a fearless warrior whose tavern served as a way station for travelers embarking on epic quests. Part lion, part bat, part scorpion, the Manticore has adapted to changing times, but her adventurous spirit still lurks within. What I think is interesting is if you look at this Manticore, they've already given you the gender. But if you didn't know the gender of the Manticore, what would you suspect?
It's a female.
You would suspect it was female?
You mean
right off the bat?
You mean from the description or from the picture?
From the image.
From the image?
It sounded like a female.
It did, it sounded, but if you didn't have that, if you just had the image, what would you suspect? I would suspect a male.
Yeah, it does look male-ish.
So why?
It's dressed in male clothes. It's got like a brute size, kind of more shaped like a male. To me, visually, the only cue is the Manticore is wearing red high heels.
Oh, interesting. But it's like
otherwise,
could be a man's body in high
pants and a belt and a vest. And
I agree. You should, if you would have showed us this before the trailer, I think we would have been saying it's a guy. Yeah.
Yeah, has very manly features.
For an animal, it's not a human, is it?
No, but they're personified.
Wearing clothes.
That's true. Yeah. A lot of animals you can't tell unless you look.
Yeah, I probably should pull in some more screenshots. But anyway, it strikes me as a very manly creature until I,
Yeah, it looks like Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, it does. It looks like Beast from Beauty and the Beast. But it's a female character. Now,
I noticed something on there. You said that the Manticore thing changes times?
Changed with the times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's changed with the times. Now, here's where I'm going with this. Corey Ray is a Pixar producer for this film. She's been working on this film for 6 years.
Wow.
Okay. And one thing that's kind of striking to me is if you look at Corey Ray's personal life, which you can find this information on Wikipedia, it says this: she's married to another Pixar producer who is a female. And from watching interviews of her, when she talks about this film, she's like very particularly excited about the Manticore. And I don't find it surprising that the character appears to blur gender roles.
Yeah.
And even more when you look at the book that's being produced for this film. You can find these books on Amazon. This is called Onward, Tale of the Manticore, and it's written by this Mariko Tamaki. And she was awarded the honor of distinction by the Dane Ogilvy Prize, a literary award for lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender writers in Canada in 2012. Now, the thing that's striking to me about that is I didn't have to dig that up. That was in the Amazon description for the book. And so it's like they're putting it out there and highlighting it, and it's specifically about the Manticore. So I'm like, it's kind of odd to me that this character's all dressed, very manly and has this gruff nature.
Isn't that weird?
Voice.
That's like you're looking up a kid's book on Amazon, and that's what they tell you straight up. I'm just trying to find a kid's book. I wouldn't buy this, and you get all these, details about her sexual life or whatever.
Yeah, it is odd, and it gets even more odd, I think, as we go along. Other books that you can find for kids about this film. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So the Manticore, what is the Manticore? I looked this up on Encyclopedia Britannica, and basically a Manticore is this creature like they described, has the body of a lion, the tail of a dragon or a scorpion, the head of a man. And then it had this interesting piece. It said medieval writers used the Manticore as a symbol of the devil.
That's interesting.
Straight up.
Wow.
So in essence, it's the devil that sets them on their quest to get their dad for another day.
Well, of course it is. It wouldn't be Jesus.
Right.
It's magic.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Wow.
And so you can find that map. It's actually in the tavern when you look. And as we blow that up, it's on the Wall of Adventure. And you can see there's this map for when you go looking for the Phoenix Gem. Okay? And so there's another book. You can also find this on Amazon. It's called In Search of the Phoenix Gem, an Inquestigation. So what exactly is the Phoenix Gem, and why is it that they need it? Why they need it I thought was kind of hard to find out. I didn't find any details about the movie, but I did find something about the Phoenix Gem on another website.
Just to clarify, they need the gem for the staff to work.
I
those
think
two
they need
elements
the gem. Yeah, I think they need it to help finish bringing their dad back. There wasn't a lot of detail like that. All I know is they're searching for it, but then like how that fits in the exact storyline, I don't know. I mean, the whole thing has not released yet, so it's a little hard to tell.
Okay.
But there's this website I came across called Lexicanum, and they talk about the Phoenix Gem. It was like the only place I could find where they're talking about the Phoenix Gem, so I'm guessing this is the inspiration for their source. Here's what it says. The Phoenix Gem is an elder artifact. At the height of the war in heaven, Assyrion himself was laid low by the chill blades of his foes. Now, Assyrion is the Phoenix King, or he's like the chief of the elder gods. And it goes on to say, describes him being brought back to life. And then it says, even now, it can still return life to the fallen.
So that's why they need it, to bring back their dead dad.
That is what I'm guessing. This
Makes
is
sense.
being used to help restore life. So kind of an interesting description. That's the only thing I could find on the internet about what a Phoenix Gem was.
Interesting. And the phoenix rising from the ashes is a very occultic, like regeneration, bringing back something new.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yep. So what else can you get on Amazon? Well, when I was looking up some of these other books, this one came up. And you can get this book called Onward, The Wizard in You.
Of course.
And what does this book have? It has spell cards.
Wow.
There are actually 12 spell cards inside. Now, the book has not been released yet, so you can't actually even get a preview of what these spell cards look like.
Dude, this is like, it's just getting so much, we've been building up to this. We had Pokemon cards, all these things. They make these things look innocent to the point where now it's like, let's get some spell cards for the kids.
Yeah. Now, in the film, I mean, yeah, at least in the trailer, I did catch this screenshot where they're practicing this growth spell.
It says we have a full tank.
That doesn't work. Growth spell!
We grow the can, and then the
Gas inside will
grow with it.
elbows up.
I'm trying to focus here.
It worked!
The can is huge!
And the van is huge!
And you're...
Oh no.
They're actually, they run out of gas, and so then they're trying to get more gas. And so they figure, okay, well, there's a little bit left in our can, so if we use a growth spell in the gas can, it'll grow the can and grow the gas inside of the can. Mm-hmm. Well, the whole thing goes wrong, but this is a screen capture for the growth spell that they actually have in the book. It looks like they have some guidelines on how a die, like some dice.
Wow.
And if you look at Barley's vest, he has what looks like a D&D dice on there.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And so there's all these parameters on if the die comes up to this value, you can grow the can like this much in proportion. So there's a little bit of that going on.
So there was an argument presented after the My Little Pony video that these shows are just a display of magic. They're not teaching magic.
What?
Okay. So like they're not teaching a child exactly how to perform magical spells and all these things. And I found that interesting because even if we were to say, okay, agreed, fine, they're not teaching. But then you have these books, you have these cards, the board games, all these things, books, these subliminal messages like, okay, if I want to do this, I need to get a book. And of course, what does a book have? Yeah. Step-by-step instruction, just like a progression.
They say the real teaching of magical arts does not come from the Harry Potter movies. It actually comes from the Harry Potter books. And so any kid, I mean, if they're really into the movies, they're going to be more likely enticed to read the books. And I think in this same situation here, it's like, you know, as a little kid, this is like colorful and fanciful, and it's like, you know, kids dive into it, they buy all the toys, and then, you know, I want the book so I can read the stories. And so, yeah, maybe everybody is not going to fall trap to this, watch the movie, and then want to go out and commit spells and things on people, but there are a large amount of people that's how this works. It's like planting little seeds, and then those kids will grow up and get involved in this.
I'm going to make a prediction. They're probably going to make a board game out of this, considering you have dice to roll to make the spell.
Maybe.
You got the spell cards, you got your dice. Let's play Onward, family. Let's.
And then it's going to come with a little magnifying glass that goes over yes or no. Or
Yeah.
whatever, you know what I
Is
mean?
Dad coming back from the dead? What are you saying, Dad?
I mean, look at how close that would be
it's
if
super
they
close.
did that.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy. Well, that's about as far as I'm going to take all of this information, and I want to talk about a little bit about what the Bible has to say about that, because the Bible has some strong language on magic and practicing magic and doing spells. It says in Leviticus 19:26, it says, "You shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall you use enchantment or observe times." And if you think back to the dictionary definition that we had from Merriam-Webster, it actually used the word enchantment.
Yeah.
Right? So it says, do not use enchantment, just very plain, no ifs, ands, or buts there. I also found this in Micah 5:12. It says, this is God talking to the children of Israel and talking about what he's going to do in their nation. "And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers." Clearly, God is looking at this nation of Israel, his chosen people, and saying, this is not going to be a part of my nation. I'm going to get rid of this because it's not supposed to be there.
I also
Makes me worry about our nation.
I also guarantee that if you had a window back into Israel, you could see that all the Israelites were doing was just observing how the others worshipped, right? And then very easily they were enticed into those practices. So I think, you know, this is the same sort of thing, like to go back and re-answer what you're doing too. I think just observing and watching is going to ultimately lead you down a path. And God has clear language. I mean, you read the Old Testament, you read the New Testament, same sort of thing, like witchcraft, sorcery, magic, all that stuff, like God will cut you off.
True. And it's true, God does offer a hedge of protection. But if you continually put yourself in that position and you decide, no, I'm going to sit and observe this, he's going to respect your decision and kind of back off. And that way the devil has full reign over that person.
We also have the story in the Bible of the king of Israel, Manasseh. Manasseh, he had an interesting life. He came to be king at about 12, I think it was. And he reigned for longer than any other Israelite king, if I remember right. It was like 55 years. I mean, he reigned for a long time. But the Bible says this about Manasseh. It says, also he caused his sons to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. He practiced soothsaying, used witchcraft and sorcery, and consulted mediums and spiritists. He did much evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke to anger.
Wow.
Much evil. God is like not pleased with this at all.
This was the king of Israel?
Was the king of Israel.
Wow.
And he was actually taken into captivity. And it was in captivity that his heart turned back to the Lord and he repented. He had this, what have I done moment? I've spent so much time, so much of my life doing evil. He woke up, he repented, God restored him back to Israel, and when he got there, he tried to undo everything that he had done.
Awesome.
And God blessed, but at the same time, it was like he couldn't undo everything. The people had already gone so far, and they were so enraptured by witchcraft and all these other things that he had done and idol worship that he couldn't turn the nation of Israel away. They still continued on. But he had a repentant heart, and he turned away from that. And I would expect, given his repentant heart and all that he did to turn away, I would expect Manasseh is probably one of those kings you'll find in heaven.
Amen.
And that's probably going to be a surprise to some people.
Yeah, right.
Because they were like, dude, you killed me,
Wow.
or you did this. But Manasseh, he turned away from all that. But God does not talk about what he did in a pleasing light. The Bible also tells us in Galatians 5:19 through 21, it says this, now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contentions, jealousies, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambitions, dissensions, heresies, it goes on, envy, murders, drunkenness, revelries, and the like, of which I tell you beforehand. Okay? So before everything goes down, just as I told you in time past, that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. So in other words, those who persist in practicing those things. Not if you've done that and turned away, but if you say, I don't care what God says, I'm going to do witchcraft, I'm going to, participate in whatever activity I want to, then God is saying, I'm sorry, heaven is not a place for you.
Yeah, that's a rebellious spirit.
It is.
Thank God that he does forgive people who have messed with that stuff,
And then what happens at the end of the book, right? We're all familiar with the end of the book. We know at the end of the book, Jesus wins, heaven is a great place, right? What does it say about heaven? It says, but the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. It also tells us in Revelation 22:15, but outside, and it's talking about the heavenly city, right? After all the redeemed are safe inside the New Jerusalem, it says, but outside are dogs and sorcerers, and sexually immoral, and murderers, and idolaters, and whoever loves and practices a lie.
Wow.
So very strong language. But we know at the end of the book, if you're bent on practicing those things, and you'd rather have that instead of Jesus, God says, you're not going to be in the heavenly city.
He'll respect your decision.
Yeah, he will respect your decision.
And Revelation describes a time in the end when the nations are going to be deceived by sorceries. Revelation 18:23. Yep. It says, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. So, I mean, this is what we're coming to, People are just, millions of people are being deceived by sorcery and being enchanted, like you said. Like they saw that king and they made it look glamorous or whatever, and they couldn't turn away from it.
Like going back to somebody that's just passively observing, like if you're just watching these things and it's like, okay, fine, I'm not going to get involved in sorcery, I'm not going to get involved in witchcraft, right? But that in itself is just numbing your mind to those kind of things. And so when the real sorcery, like in the end of the world, the end time people are going to deal with some serious deceptions. So if you can't discern a simple deception, just like a simple movie like this, and say, okay, I don't want anything to do with this as witchcraft and things that are immoral to God. And how are you going to do that when the real sorcery comes out at the end of the world and is really a deceptive, super powered?
It's not just a cartoon anymore. It's
like real. It's like if you can't pick it out from this, you are not going to pick it out from when Satan really steps on the scene.
Yeah, I agree.
And let's make this personal. You know, if say each of us have a friend that we call our friend, we have a personal relationship with, we're both on the same page. But then you know that there's a different person who has malicious intent against your friend. But then you decide to go spend time with that person anyway and get counsel from that person. How do you think your friend would feel? So how do you think Christ feels when you're spending your time engaging in the devil's entertainment and all these things? How do you think God feels in that situation?
A subtle statement would just be, I don't want to watch it if it's got things that are outside of, what God wants for us.
Well, I'm thankful that Jesus is the one that has the power. We don't need to take any of these things from the world, the witchcraft, the magic, any of that. We can go to Jesus. Jesus has all the power in the world. So if you have problems, you want to go to Jesus because he can solve all your problems. He has all the power. He has all the right. And when he was here on this earth, we know that the demons were subject to him. The spirits were subject to him. He cast them out, and he is the one that can help you in your life. And whatever struggle it is, it doesn't have to be magic or sorcery. It can be anything. Christ provides the victory and power to overcome, and we can all be very thankful for that.
Amen.
So with this show, we're going to try something new. We have a free download that we would like to provide you, and you can use it as a personal resource, pass it off to a friend, maybe use it in a small group Bible study. So I want you to check the link below, and you'll get this free download about this movie Onward and what the Bible has to say about magic and sorcery. And now it's time for our Patreon post-show discussion. So we're going to end our show here. If you want to see the Patreon post-show discussion, you're going to have to tune in and become a patron. So any final thoughts on the movie Onward, guys?
Don't go see it.
Don't go see it.
Turn around and go onward the other way.
There you go.
Onward the other way. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And we really appreciate all of our supporters once again. We thank you for watching our show. Make sure that you subscribe so that you'll know when other videos come out. Hit that bell, and you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. And well, I don't think there's anything else. Am I missing anything, guys?
No.
No? All right. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching.